Welcome back to the Vintage Firearm Series. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the Remington Model 4. This is interesting in some ways. It's in rough condition. I'll show you it up close in a minute. What's probably interesting about this, and I just bought this yesterday. I was at a local pawn shop, and you never know what you're going to find. The secret is not to go looking for anything because you won't find anything you're looking for. And I certainly wasn't looking for this, but when I saw it, I said, this is interesting. Upon looking at the serial numbers, I could, because I do own another one, I'm going to talk about that in a second. This one was interesting because it's one of the last made in 1932. This is a last year production. Also interesting is I have another one that was made in 1890, first year production. So the two that I have are on either ends. How could you pass that up? Now the first year production one, it's really sad because somebody tried to clean the barrel with a wire brush. You never do that. I don't care what they say online. That's a last resort when everything else fails. They can get away with it more with some of the new barrels, but if you do that on an old barrel like this, you've ruined it. The one I have from 1890, somebody has taken a wild brush to it, and we'll have to reline it before it can be shot. Either that or it's a decorative piece. But in this case, this is shootable. It is somewhat frosted inside, but other than that, it is very shootable. It still has rifling involved. Let's talk about why I like this gun. This gun is, of course, a breech loading gun, and it's also a rolling block. So, I mean, you had your falling blocks and your rolling blocks. Well, this is a rolling blocks, and we're going to get into that a little bit in another video, so we'll save that. But it's a very interesting design. Remington made this design from about the 1860s to 1932. I think this was the very last one that they made. This is considered the Model 4, a boy's gun. It's relatively small and it's simple, for him to use. Nowadays, of course, it could be used for a young lady as well, but only if she loves antiques. And then, the design of it, I don't know if I can get you to show you this, but we're going to do it. We have the ejector, which is right here. And then, so you would put a shell in it. I don't know if I can find an empty one. Hang on for 1 second. Okay, so here we go. I brought a spent shell from outside in my shooting bench. Good old volunteer. So you would go ahead and just set the 22 shell in place. And then bring that forward. That's still a bit stiff. It needs more cleaning. You have to take it all apart for that. And then, of course, when you pulled the trigger, you would fire it, and it would hit a little piece right here, which is another part. That piece goes in, and it actually is the hammer or the striking part of it. So if you want to open this back up, you pull back the hammer, and look how nice a job it does. So Remington used a design not totally dissimilar from this, from 1860 to about 1932. When at the last year that this gun was made, it was $2.85. Pretty cool, I would think. But that's when the time when a young boy could walk through the woods and be a young man. And but it's a nice feeling gun. The front of it is very light, and it's easy to aim. I'm not sure how accurate these were when they were new. The ones I have shot so far have not been extremely accurate. And I think that's partly because the barrels. You have to realize that they were an economic gun, and the barrels really did not last. And that's why you should never use a wire brush on these, only as a last case resort. I did have to use a wire brush just right here in the beginning where the shell goes in, and just gently by hand, never by a drill. Sometimes you see that online and it's just like, oh man, it just gets me really going. The people tell you how you can use a drill and run it for hours. The other one I have from 1890, it was obviously the barrel had some issues. So somebody used a drill on it with a wire brush, and they must have let it run for hours trying to clean up that bore. And all they did was dissolve the barrel. So that's why it has to be lined. Never do that. I beg of you, never to do that. If it's deeply fouled, I would recommend just cleaning it, spraying it, letting it sit a little bit, making sure that you don't get much on the stock. Okay, so let's break this guy down. Like I mentioned earlier, this has a 351,500 plus serial number. And let me go ahead and get a screwdriver. Keep on telling myself I'm going to get prepared. I'm going to have everything I need when I start the video, but I've not been able to do that yet. So, not too tight, which is good. The two pieces were very secure. Okay, so a lot of little breakups on this one. Oh well, I apologize for that. Just got to get the right things. You can see how they made it here. Look how this wood is cut out right here in a circle. They would tell you today that would never survive. Maybe this, because it's old growth and stuff, you know, it's a good high quality piece of wood. Looks like something like walnut for certain, very hard, you can tell by feeling it, and that's why it probably did survive. You can see how it's made right here for the extractor to come into place. Let me see, let's check out the bore. I did clean it yesterday. It is frosted. Now you're not going to be able to tell that in the video most likely, because we have limitations. One of the things that's kind of sad, and I was very disappointed, but still, you know, it is what it is the furniture on it is recoverable, and it would look very nice with a little love. But the barrel, it's a different story on that. So what do? Do you re-blue it or keep it as it is? Well, this is the way it survived. My first thought was to re-blue it. But I'm against that kind of stuff in principle. I'd rather have it original and show honest wear than not. Someday I'm going to do a video, and it'll be coming up, where I show the difference between a falling block, a rolling block, and these were all major designs right about this time, you know, from 1890. The 1890 gun that I have is very similar to this. Now, this is super solid. I just can't believe this. No one has hardly ever taken this gun apart, which is cool. It was, by the condition of it, I'm going to say it was in a barn. You know, like they say, you know, to shoot rats and stuff like that, or maybe even kill a pig. One doesn't know. So you've got a sight adjustment here, and it looks like this one over here is adjustable as well. So it looks like to me that it's slightly over to the left. So someone's tapped it over to the left. I don't have great expectations for the accuracy of this gun, but we're just going to have to take it out there and see. Looks like it's all going to function correctly. So let's head outside and see what we've got, and take it from there. I've always loved these. By the 30s, they were old school. Nobody wanted them. And today, if you had a younger person, they probably would want the semi-automatic and all of these things where they just pull the trigger. If a gun like this was accurate, you could become a great shot with it. There's no question about it, because you had to take the time for each and every shot to aim at it. And that's what I've always admired about. But we're going to go take this out. We're going to see how accurate it is or it is not. We're not going to spend a great deal of time on it, but someday I hope to get one or two that are in super good condition. I know they're out there. I've just not been able to find one. And so, but it'd be really nice to have one. So in any case, let's go outside. Okay, so we're going to get started off with a fresh target here. I'm trying to become organized in this series, but still got a little ways to go on that. And so I don't expect that this gun is going to be extremely accurate. Could you make it extremely accurate? Probably not without relining, but you could do that. Or you could just enjoy it for what it is, a cool old gun. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to keep the target, excuse me, we're going to keep the target pretty close. And we're going to see, who knows, maybe I'll be surprised. I'm all for that. Let me go run down. We're only going to put the target about, 30 feet away or so. Okay. The cool part about a gun like this is that you're not going to go through a massive amount of ammo. That little spider fall on me. Little green guy. I don't know what he is. Kind of cool. Fell out. I don't know if I really need them, and to be honest with you, at the moment, I just lowered it all the way to the bottom. I can put him back later. Let's see what this does. Sometimes it's supposed to flip that thing right out, and it's kind of gummy. So, before we get too involved in this, I should have it cleaned. Looks like no matter what I'm going to do to it, it's still going to shoot about the same. So I think for the moment, it's correct, all but the elevation. Otherwise, I would say it was dead on. So what I think I'll do here is I will go ahead and, for the moment, I mean, maybe this could be a very good shooting gun. I'm just going to aim high. I don't usually change mid-test, but we're gaining. Is it consistent? I think it's probably the real question. I'm going to aim very high. I think that was a bullseye. So, what does this mean? I think it means basically that it's probably consistent enough to be a great shot. Let me see. Might be a bit surprising to me. So I might be able to alter the sights on it, this back one in particular. And okay, let's go down and see what we've got. One nice thing about a system like this, rather than a semi, the semi just shoots them, and then you've got time to clean up afterwards. The other thing that I want to point out is this gun is not very loud. I didn't even put my ears on, and I see no reason to. Okay, so these were the first ones, and then I started to make some corrections. And then, but these are the ones, I think there's like 5 shots right here, 4 or 5. And but I had to aim right about up here. So if I alter, because look at the tight grouping, now it's only 40 feet away to 30 feet away, something like that. Okay, so if I altered the front sight, which is adjustable, got a Tennessee hand. Look at the tight grouping, okay? So I think I could make this a really good shooter. Surprising, I didn't think that it would. I mean, it is a bit frosted, but it's not terrible. It's just not idealistic. Let's go back inside and do a recap. Okay, so here we are. We're back inside now. Let's go ahead and the cleaning of this gun. All of these of breech loading guns are, for the most part, very easy to clean. It's almost a joke. You get some semis and stuff, and you gotta fight to get them started. Here, it's just so easy. It's just like, oh my gosh, you know, are you kidding? That's pretty much the way it is. Be nice to get this clean. It wasn't bad. Somebody had cleaned it recently, but there was a period of time where this gun went a long time without being cleaned. And that's why it's probably frosted. Because it was too late for black powder. Black powder wouldn't have been around. Now my other one, that it's difficult to say what it suffered from, because that's the one from 1890, which was the beginning of this series. Oh, a sudden didn't want to go in. It's just being stubborn with me, but these are pretty simple. And when you get it down like that, you just pull it through. Let's see what you guys can see on this. So sometimes, you know, you clean them a little bit, they can get a little bit better. Actually, this one's starting to look a lot better. I'm going to run it through it again. It's amazing. Now, if you took a wire brush to this, I think you'd ruin it. I think 10 minutes with a wire brush and a drill, and you would lose the ability. Boy, I'll probably get some feedback on that. But I've seen the results of it. Like I say, I wish if I can get a camera to show you accurately what one looks like after it's been wire brushed. Now, I'm not talking about new guns. You want to abuse a new gun, you can probably get away with it. But these barrels were not as tough in the 1800s, and this one is a little better because it's from 32, but the design is from 1890 to be more specific. But you can't take a wire brush to an old barrel like that. And if you do, you're just being cruel. You're destroying something for the future, for other people to enjoy. You want to do it, it's yours. I get the right that you have to do that, but I was really surprised by the difference that one time made, one time passed through. Well, let's see which way I can see it this time. I think to make it the best it can be, I've got to decrease the intensity of it. So you bring it back, you let it not go in quite right. But this barrel is getting brighter and brighter by the moment, so even that last pull through did good, and you can still see rifling. Sometimes you can see rifling more when it's dirty than when it's clean. I don't know. It's just the way it is. So what do we have here? Yesterday, I'm walking through a pawn shop that I've been through many times before, and I look at and I see this. It's in the back, tucked away. They've had it for a long time. I've been in that pawn shop many times. And apparently they've had this for a long time, so I was told. But I wasn't in the mood when I walked by. So all of a sudden, I'm in the mood for a rolling block breech loader. And I have to tell you, it wasn't bad. And it locks up solid. The sad part about it, I wonder if there's some way I can conserve it, to make it look better. The barrel is the worst of it. I mean, the receiver to me is fine. I love that, just the way it is. I wished it all looked like that, but the barrel, just not as good. So I hope that you found this video interesting. I have a lot of videos planned. I keep on jumping from one thought to another because there are so many that I want to do. And I was thinking out there when I was shooting today, I was coming up with ideas of videos. As I was actually talking, I was thinking about, oh, I should do this one, or I should do that one. And it was all based on things that I think that sometimes people don't have, don't talk about. They always want to talk about certain things and they repeat those. But I've got some other angles that I think might be interesting. I hope that you would find them interesting. And in any case, until tomorrow, I will see you then. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, come on back and see me again. I'd really appreciate it. 15 subs. Wow, I'm a tiny channel. So if you're looking for somebody big, it ain't me. I'll probably never be big. And I'm okay with that. It's not about anything other than just sharing my passion for vintage firearms. That's what this is all about. And I'm actually going to be comparing, and I can't go into details yet, but I'm going to be comparing a combat shotgun to a content. Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will tell you. I've got coming up in the future, one of the things I've got coming up in the future is I'm going to be comparing a World War II super condition shotgun, riot gun, to an M4. So we can kind of go ahead and do that comparison. I told you in the beginning, there would be times when I would go ahead and have a new equipment on the show, but it would be specific and for a specific reason. I can't review an M4 like so many other people can. It's just not within my capabilities. But I can certainly compare the two from a layperson standpoint. That's what I'd be willing to do. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.